Alright, so in this video what we're going to be looking at is how to create a membership site. And so I'm going to try to keep this as quick as possible, but it is a fairly in-depth tutorial of how you actually make a membership site and what the best membership plugins to use. But very general overview of what we're going to be learning about in this video is, first off, why are we even making a membership site? How can we benefit from creating a membership site? What are the best membership plugins? I guess for some of the different reasons why we would make a membership site. There's different plugins that work better for each one of them, and just a very general setup or overview. I'll try to make that part quick, but that part would probably take a good amount of time, but we'll try to make it quick. So why would we even want to create a membership site? And I think that it's definitely very specific for the individual, but I just need to name three, some of the more common reasons why you would want to create a membership site, or more specifically a course, right? That's kind of what we're going to be showing you, is ultimately how do we create a membership course. And so the first reason is just by obtaining email leads. Having a membership site, if you have certain specific content that you say is for members only, but in order to access that, they have to give you your email address or sign up, something like that. Make a new user account, or you can obtain new email leads, and we talked why you would want to build an email listserv. Second is obviously to get paid. I mean, if you have something that's very specific that you think is very valuable for an individual, that you want to be paid for either that course or that specific content, then you can easily do that. The third is having some type of personalized learning. For example, if you're using a course or creating a course, actually what we'll be doing is we'll be creating a course, and that is very personalized learning. It allows an individual to track their progress. It allows also the admin to be able to track the progress of the user. So for example, if you're creating an online course that requires quizzes, or it requires people to actually take exams or finish certain parts of the course before they can move on, that's obviously why you would want to create a membership site or a course. And so these are just three basic examples, but you definitely can go more into depth. You can be more creative than that. And so in terms of the best membership plugins, well, like I mentioned before, for different things, what you want to make, there's different plugins that are better for it. The one that we're actually going to be using is the first one. It's the members plugin. It's literally called members plugin. I'll have the link in the description box below. But yeah, members plugin is great if you're trying to create a free course, something that's very simple and easy to use, that literally everything that you give them access to is going to be free. They don't need to subscribe for a certain plan. They don't need to pay anything. It's just very basic, very simple. It just restricts content to certain member levels, and it'll tell them that they need to log in or register, whatever it is, right? The second one being Paid Membership Pro, and it's called a Pro plugin, but it's actually free. So both these plugins are free. Members and the Paid Membership Pro are both free plugins. The difference is that the Paid Membership Pro plugin, in my opinion, is very good if you have multiple subscription types. And what I mean by that is that, if you have a free account and then you may have a paid account for a certain plan, and then you have another paid account for a certain plan, one thing that's great about this plugin, we're not going to be using it in our example, is that it has so many different options, has so much different things that it can do in regards to subscription plans, the type of credit cards or payments it can accept. In my opinion, it's the best for making a paid members site. Just because it has so many options and it allows different types of subscriptions. But the reason why we're not using it for a free membership course is because when I tried to set everything up initially for my website, what I found was that it required the user to click too many buttons. I think an extra 2 buttons they had to press. They had to subscribe, and they had to navigate another area into their members area, and do a couple other steps. And it may not sound like much, but you have to remember that for somebody who's just signing up for something free, or even if they have to pay for it, the less amount of clicks that they have to make is better, right? You just want to kind of prevent them from just getting tired or getting confused. So yeah, just very basic plugin setup. Kind of how it's going to work for us is I've listed quite a few plugins here, but only one that is required is the first one, the members plugin. The members plugin is the only one that's going to be required, and it's going to actually give the functionality to our website to create a membership site. The rest is all just aesthetic, right? Just for functionality, just to add a few extra added benefits. And I'll show you actually how we utilize it on our main site at wpforall.com. We'll show you how we have utilized all 5 of these plugins in addition to a couple other ones, but we won't discuss them here. But pretty much you'll need the members plugin. The second one being, and this is optional, my WordPress Login Logo. And I have the links to all these in the description below. But pretty much what that one does, imagine if you had, we're going to be using the basic login and registration form on the actual WordPress login area. So if you go to your website.com/wp-admin, you'll see that normal login area unless you change the URL for that. And so what this plugin does, it just makes the logo different. Normally you have the WordPress logo, now we're going to have our own special logo. Peter's login redirect, and it's not going to make too much sense why we're using this right now, but pretty much what we're doing is we're creating a membership area. And so as soon as they log in, I want them to be redirected to the login area rather than go into the back end, get confused, not know where to go, or just stay on the the member or the login area. It's going to be confusing for the individual. I want to be specific as to where should they go to reduce that confusion. So that's why we're using the login redirect. As soon as they log in, they're going to go to a members area page, or like the dashboard that you see in typical websites. We're going to use the hide admin bar for non-admins. And this is just, entirely depend on the individual. Like I said, very optional. What it does, it just hides that toolbar at the top from people who are not admins. So the role that you're going to be giving for these new members are subscribers, so they won't be able to see that. And it's up to you whether or not you want to get rid of it or not. For me, it's kind of up in the air. Since I'm teaching WordPress, I don't mind having that admin bar at the top because they know that I'm using WordPress to make my website. But if you're not necessarily, for example, if you're making a real estate course, right? How to buy real estate or something like that, right? Probably chances are you don't want them to see that admin bar. You want to make it as white labeled as possible. And the final plugin, and this is the only one that it costs money, and it's only specific if you want to make an actual course that can track people's progress, take quizzes, things like that. It's called WP Courseware. And we'll see how all this works. But yeah, it's a course learning management system plugin. So the general setup, this is very general for how our website's actually going to look or work, is they're going to register and log in using the typical WordPress login area. So WordPress is going to handle all of that. The actual logging in, the actual register of the users, sending the emails to the individual for them to get a password, things like that. It's all going to be handled by WordPress itself. As soon as they log in, they're going to go to a membership area, and they're going to have this access to this membership area, and that's where the course is going to actually be. It's going to be kind of like a typical dashboard that you would see, but it's going to be just like a typical page, right? And you can make it as complex or as simple as you want, and we'll kind of see how that all works. So right now you may be a little bit overwhelmed just because there's so many plugins that are working together. You can't really visualize what this may look like. So I'm going to show you actually a real world example of how we utilize these different plugins on our main website. And I'll try to make this as brief as possible. But at our main website, wpforall.com, the core of our website, or the core of our YouTube channel, is in our actual course on our website, right? And so this is just the landing page or the front page of the website. We kind of describe what you'll learn, very structured course, but it requires them to register because it kind of tracks their progress using the course, a WP Courseware plugin. And so when they click on it, there's many different options for them to register. As you can see up here, login, register, things like that. Just trying to make it as easy for people to kind of figure out what they need to do. It'll open up this registration page once they click register, and they'll just go for the username, email, and a password will be emailed to them. And that just ensures that everything is kind of it allows everything to be real. Their email, a lot of people tend to use fake emails if they can just enter a password in right below it. So things like that. So this is the registration page. As you can see, using the different logo, we don't have the normal WordPress logo here. It's our own logo. So that's kind of takes care of that. The login logo plugin. And so once they get their password, they can just redirect them to the login area, and they'll just put in their username, and they'll put in their password as well. And so as we recall what the redirect plugin did, we have a redirect plugin so that normally when you log into WordPress, you go to the back end of WordPress, you see the dashboard. But in this case, it redirected us to this membership area, right? So as you can see, this is our membership area. You can customize this however you would like. I'm kind of just starting off. I still need to figure out what's the best way to display everything. But this membership area kind of just describes what everything is, kind of as your dashboard. You can navigate, because eventually we'll have many different courses, many different lessons. But for now, this is what I've added so far. And so, they can access the course. And so just to take a quick look at what this membership plugin is even doing, because right now it's working on here, is that if we look at when we have logged out, this is what the page looks like when we have logged out, is that you have this membership area, and this is the same page, right? If we look at the URL, it's the same thing, but now we're not logged in, and so it's telling us it has this kind of a customized message that you can put. You can put whatever you want. So you must be logged in to view this content. So they can log in now, or they can register below. And I use this registration page or registration button simply because I wanted to try something different. This is using the Gravity Forms plugin. It's actually a paid plugin, so I'm not going to show you how to utilize that here. But yeah, we're trying to see which one works best in terms of registration, right? And so that's kind of what the membership plugin does. It kind of makes everything just so it's a lot more simple, and it makes things so that you can kind of restrict access to certain things. So once they actually access the course, or once they want to view the course, they can click on the various different courses, and they'll be redirected to the actual course layout or course dashboard. And so they can click on whatever lesson in this specific course. Is just the getting started course. Say they wanted to learn how to install a WordPress theme, how they go about doing that. All right, and so it would just redirect you to another, I guess, kind of like a course. They call it a course unit, right? And so here you can have a video, you can have text, whatever you really want, and then they can mark it as complete, go to the next or previous unit, things like that, watch a video. And this also is like their dashboard to kind of see, what classes or units they have completed or haven't completed, and it'll even give you, a certificate if you complete, if that's what you want to do. So we've actually been able to see all 5 plugins in action. The only one that I didn't mention was we don't see this admin bar at top, and that was what one of the plugins did, right? I have that installed right now, and I'll kind of figure out if I want it later. So you can kind of get an overview of, or an idea of, how you can utilize these 4 or 5 plugins onto your website, which ones you want, which ones you don't need, things like that. Alright, so now that we've actually kind of seen how all these plugins interact in a real life example, now what I'm going to do is kind of just explain kind of a very general overview of how all these plugins actually work, kind of the settings of it. I did some of it already just because some of it is very trivial. I don't want to kind of focus too much on those details. I just want to kind of go over the big picture, and you guys can very easily figure out everything on your own. So what we're going to do first is simply just what I did is I installed all the different plugins. I installed the members plugin, the My WordPress Login Logo, the Login Redirect, the WP Courseware, and the hiding the admin area. And you can pick and choose which one you think you may need. So the first thing that we're going to do is simply go into the members plugin, because that's the one that is the core of our website. That's the one that probably most people are going to be using. So it's one thing that I really like in comparison to other membership plugins is that it's actually very simple. There's no options, and this could be good and bad depending on what you're trying to make. But if you're just trying to make a free course, something that's very simple and easy to use, you just want them to pretty much just be able to register and log in, this is exactly all you need, right? And so pretty much the settings can kind of stay as they are already. The only thing that I kind of wanted to mention is that you can change the message. You can change if they access a page or a post, whatever it may be, that is restricted based on the different user roles. You can have a specific message, and then you can just customize this in HTML. It accepts HTML and shortcode, so that's kind of good. And so you can say whatever it is that you want. All I said is I kept it simple. Sorry, but you do not have permission to view this content. Please log in. And I guess you can also mention, if it's something that's free, registration is free, mention that as well. Anything that's free, people want to know. And so you can customize it however you want in that regard. They also have a login sidebar widget and a user's widget. I guess it's kind of like a user profile. And so you can also redirect, you have other various options redirecting people when they log out, things like that, right? So that's very simple how the actual membership plugin works, right? But kind of an add-on of how it works as well is that's part of the settings, but actually how it works on the actual page or restricting access to a page or a post. That's what we're going to be doing here. So what I did is create a very simple members area page, right? Nothing to it, just created the page for now. And all I want to show you is down below. So content permissions, and this will show up on all the posts and all the pages. So you want to limit the access to this post content to users of a selected role. And so you want to limit the access to people who are subscribers, right? At least subscribers and above, or subscribers at least if you click on that one only, right? And so you don't want people who are just simply viewers to view the site, right? If they haven't subscribed to your site, things like that, they don't actually have an account, they shouldn't be able to access it, right? And we saw how that kind of worked. And you can subscribe here. You can also have a custom error message if you want specific for an individual post or page that wasn't the general one that we just looked at. And then you just update it. And that would allow people who are only subscribers to be able to gain access. So that's kind of the members plugin. Really, that's all it is. Very simple, very easy to use. It does exactly what we need to do: restrict access to certain content. So what we're going to do now is we're going to see kind of how this login logo, and it's very simple to use. There's not much to it. All we're doing is uploading a logo, and you're just going to specify the width and the height. And they have some other customization like a fade, and if you notice it, you may not have noticed it. It's like a fading effect. Really, it's just for aesthetics. If you want it, sure. If not, it's perfectly fine. So the login logo, very simple, easy to use. Not much to it, but it makes your login page look a lot nicer in my opinion. Next one that we're going to be doing is the redirect, right? This one I think is very important because if you don't have this one, when users log in, they're going to be directed to this dashboard, right? They're going to see this dashboard. They may not see all these different options, but they will see this dashboard. And it's going to be kind of hard, in my opinion, unless all your content is in the dashboard, to direct them to say, oh, head on over to the members area or head on over to this specific post or page. It's going to be quite difficult. So you kind of want to eliminate that confusion. You want to eliminate that even possibility that they're going to make that mistake. So what you do is you just specify a specific role. So we wanted the subscriber roles because ultimately those are the only ones we care about. It's the only type of other user that we have. So the subscriber role, when they log in, they're going to be redirected to the members area. When they log out, they're also going to be redirected to the members area. Simply because, and the second part, that one is entirely up to you. They can be logged out to anywhere. It can go to the home page, whatever you really wanted to, because chances are the only one that really matters is the login URL. And we just wanted to go to that members area page that we just made, right? Because that was restricted content. Now once they log in, they'll gain access to it, right? And so the next thing that I want to talk about is, I guess, the hiding the admin toolbar. That's actually, there's no settings to it. So there's nothing to talk about. Really, all you do is install the plugin. It'll already know to hide that toolbar for anybody who is a non-admin. Right, so that's definitely very easy for you, nothing to really explain. The next thing I want to talk about actually is this Courseware, WP Courseware plugin, right? Because that's the core of our actual course, right? We've seen how we actually set up a membership page, right? You don't necessarily need the WP Courseware plugin if all you're trying to make is access to specific posts, right? Specific posts. You would do the same thing that you would do with our membership area page. You would just make posts and you would restrict the access to it, and you would kind of paste them all into that dashboard area, the membership area dashboard. But let's say you wanted to create an actual course. How would you go about doing that, right? And so pretty much what you would do is you just add a new course, right? So this is a sample course. I didn't do much to it, and they have things called course units. Right, so this is a course unit right here. You just add new, and it's going to look exactly like, let's actually see what it looks like. It's going to look exactly like a post or a page, right? You're literally just adding a new course unit. It's going to look exactly like this. So sample 3, this is a test post, or actually it's a course unit. So let's not get confused. And we're just going to publish it, right? So once we publish it, once we actually have all these courses. Obviously, you would want to actually have content within, like you saw in our website. We had videos, right? We had videos to actually accompany the course, right? So once we have everything, now we're just going to go into training course, And what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can order everything. We can add our actual course units into our from our course units into the actual course. But as you can see, it says no modules yet. So a module, it's kind of it's kind of like a part 1, part 2, things like that, right? That's kind of what a module is. It's kind of just a breaking point. So you can just select which course you want the module to be attached to, and you can just name what the module you want, right? So literally just think of a module just like a part 1, part 2, just a breaking point. It allows people to kind of have a place where they can kind of just pause or rest. You can have a quiz right after each module, things like that, right? So fairly simple, fairly intuitive in my opinion. So all we're going to do is go sample course. We see that there's one module attached to it, and we're just going to go into quiz units ordering. And it's just a drag and drop interface. So all we're going to do is drag it and drop, and you can specify which unit you want to add to each course. I just added them all, but you can easily customize it to however you want. And you're just going to save it, and we're going to have this training course right here. So this training course is complete. It's actually done right now. So what we're going to do to actually embed this course onto our website is the best place to put it is ultimately in the members area or your dashboard area, right? Because you want to be able to kind of showcase what are these individuals who are signing up, where are they going to. If you only have one course, it would be perfect to put it right there, right? And everything is just a shortcode. It's just a shortcode, and it'll all be in the documentation of how you actually put it in. There's many different options, but very simply put, just put in the shortcode right there, and we're just going to update it. And we're kind of see how everything looks right after this, right? So when the user registers for the course, when they do everything, what will they see? Ultimately, what will they see once they register for the course and they log in, things like that. So there's like that. And so once they log into this, once they're able to log in, they're redirected to the members area. They're going to see something like this, and they'll be able to click it. But right now, we're not able to click it. Why is that? Well, it's because we are not granted access to the course yet. We specified in our settings, and I didn't describe too much about the settings, was you can automatically add new users to all these courses or to this specific course. But since we have already been a user, right, we're already a past user, it's not going to show up, right? So we're just going to go users. And what we can do though is we can manually add people to different courses, right? And so we're just going to click on our name because that's the one that we are in, and we can just allow the access. So just save those changes, and we're going to refresh it. And just to mention though, you don't have to do this for each individual. You can specify who you want to give access to, but since all your new registers will already they will come after the course is actually developed, then they'll automatically be registered for this course, and they can just view each of the different units, same thing as before, And so it's very simple, very easy to use. It allows them to be able to mark things as complete. It allows them to kind of have the more personalized experience of a membership site. And like I mentioned before, instead of this, you could easily have put just a list of different posts, right? If you wanted to make certain posts restricted content, all you would do is you would go into the actual page settings or the post settings, scroll down and change it from make sure that the subscribers are restricted access, right? We saw how we did that before. And they would just be able to have this members area, just like a dashboard, just like a table of contents or navigation area where they can access maybe ebooks, they can access different posts, different pages, things like that, right? So you can be very flexible. I showed you how to make a course specifically, but you can be very flexible as to how you will actually want to customize your members area. And I don't believe I actually mentioned this before. What I want to quickly just talk about, I don't even really want to show too much, is one thing that I like is that you can add these login or register buttons in your menu option just so that in case you don't want to have a widget, you want to have just a menu item right here, it will allow them to just have an easier time to find everything, right? You want to make it as easy as possible for your users to be able to find everything so they don't get confused. They don't have to search around how to actually use your course or your membership site. They can just do it, right? And so all we're going to do is we're going to find the menu that it is. And what I did was add a custom link. So it was this option right here, link URL, and then the link text. And as you can see, the login URL is wp-login.php, and then the register one is a little bit longer. All I did to find those things out was I logged out of WordPress. I went to the typical user registration area, right? So this was the register area, we can see right there. And when you click login, you'll be redirected to the actual login page, and you can just copy and paste these URLs, right? So it's very simple as to how you add those things. Definitely a lot of customizability that you can eventually add, or you can remove some things if you find that you don't need them, right? So it's fairly simple how to actually make a membership site, and what the plugins we used, and also how you can specifically make a membership course.